G'day everyone, this is a massive 3D printer that I've been using a lot more lately. Like for these Lego Croc shoes, I called my version Blocks because that just makes way more sense as a name, but it's taking up my entire workbench and I need that space back for other silly projects. Fortunately for me, my friends over at BigTreeTech and Biqu sent over the Panda station, which is just as big as the printer itself, and a heap of other upgrades and accessories. They also included a cute little note saying Merry Christmas. It's now June. Whoops. Unfortunately, my year has been hectic and not very successful so far. Then there was the whole Bambu Lab controversy, and I wasn't sure if I should finish this video. But some of these upgrades I think are really worth showing off, and some of them I think people should avoid. There's a lot to get through, so let's upgrade this 3D printer. Starting with build plates. Biqu now have their standard textured Pyro Grip build plate available for the H and A2L series printers, as well as their unique Cryo Grip Glacier and Frostbite build plates, which feel sticky. Spare build plates are never a bad thing, especially if you disrespect yours as much as mine, but the main selling point of these blue Cryo Grip plates is that they basically offer a bit more grip at lower than normal temperatures, and are also a bit more expensive as a result. For most people and most prints, they might be a bit overkill, but if you're a bit more serious about 3D printing, these can definitely help to prevent warping on larger prints, and if you have a print pump, you might actually save a bit on your electricity bill by running at lower temps. I've been using the smaller versions of these build plates for well over a year. They're reasonably priced and good quality, so I'm giving them an A. Next up is the Sidekick Toolkit, which includes some basic side cutters, a machined metal screwdriver with 5 different bits for common printer screws, each of which is long and skinny, which is perfect for those tight, deep holes that mine just can't get into, and a solid anodized aluminium scraper. This is now the second one that they've sent me, and I'll be very honest, you don't need this, but I love it. The truth is you can buy much cheaper tools elsewhere that will work just as well, and that's what I recommend you do, but I go a bit silly for machined metal, so I'll give this toolkit a really generous B. The next upgrade is the Panda Under Armour. The purpose of this one is to be able to move it a bit more easily, and I'm not sure how well you can see them here, to protect the exposed belts underneath the printer while you do that, I guess. These wheels are also an optional upgrade for the upgrade, and they're super handy. Right now the feet are deployed and the printer isn't going anywhere, but give each wheel a good crank and the feet raise up and you can just start rolling it around. Not super useful for a small workbench like this, but I can see this being super duper handy if you have a larger work area or have it on the floor of your garage, for example. So I'm giving this an A tier ranking. But the version without the wheels, I think that would be kind of useless, so that gets a D. Maybe the smaller version for the X or P series would be much more useful since they don't have proper carry handles built in like the H series, but I haven't tested them so I'm not sure. In the next box is the Panda Perch, which again needs a bit of assembly, but here it is. It just sits on top of the printer and the glass lid can be slid into place, giving you space for 2 AMSs to perch up top. I love how this kind of looks like a car spoiler. It also feels sturdy even with the weight of my AMS2 Pro and my AMS2. Quick tangent, you know what an AMS is, it's S tier, but my AMS2 as I call it is just an original AMS1 with the Sunlu AMS heater upgrade installed. I did a whole short video about this if you're interested, and while I do love being able to upgrade older tech, it makes the AMS super top heavy and adds another cable that you need to run, so overall in the long run, it hasn't been bad. I've just found it a bit awkward to use and have preferred standalone drying units, so C tier. The Perch is also getting a C because it also adds awkwardness. I'm constantly needing to take off the 2 AMSs, the lid, and then the Perch to do any work on the toolhead, and for me it's easier just to put my second AMS somewhere else. This is normally where I'd put the sponsored segment, if I had one. Instead of accepting thousands of dollars from an AI or sketchy browser extension company, I wanted to quickly thank channel members Andrew Brown, Icebreaker, and Akash, as well as the boosters on my new Discord server, Sebastian, Daniel, and again, Andrew Brown and Icebreaker. When I reached 100,000 subscribers, I promised to do some giveaways, and so far on my new Discord server, I've given away over $750 worth of 3D printers and filament vouchers. And I have much more planned before the end of the year. This is the first sponsored segment where I'm losing money instead of making it, so please consider joining and taking more of it away from me. Cheers. But back to the Perch, I feel like it's missing something. These are side-mounted accessory things that hang off the bottom of the Perch, but they're a bit weird because they use these suction cups to stay in place against the printer. This is kind of fine for the windowed part, but below that they need these adhesive disc things so that they can suction properly. You can of course store anything here like Buildplates or Filament, but I think it was definitely designed with filament dryers in mind, like the Creality SpacePi here. Once you start printing with advanced filaments, a filament dryer is basically mandatory, and I like the SpacePi for its simplicity, and it does feel well built compared to some of my other dryers, but the way it opens is a bit odd, so I'll give it a B. But the larger version, the SpacePi X4, is so good that I have 2 of them. It gets hotter up to 80 degrees Celsius, it's not awkward to use, you can set each side to different temperatures, and it has some moody LED lights. A tier. Back to the Panda Perch side things though, they're getting an F. They wobble around when printing, the suction cups keep coming off, the adhesive discs keep falling off, and it rattles. So if you're getting this, please know what you're getting into, or you can just not get it, which is what I recommend. This is our machine so far, and the workshop supervisor seems to enjoy it. He is a good little man, except for when he's trying to chew the cables on my A1. This is the same printer I upgraded in my last big upgrade video, and I've had no problems with any of it so far. I also upgraded this P1S in a previous video, and this one has held up a bit worse. The adhesive wrap, like you all predicted, has started peeling, and both of these printers have now been out of action for months due to broken tool heads. I just don't have the time to fiddle with them, and they're not the easiest to actually fiddle with. So recently my Core 1 has been my main machine. It's been incredibly reliable, easy to repair, and I just like supporting a company that fully embraces open source. If I was to do another upgrade video like this, it would probably be for this machine, or maybe the large version if I could get my hands on it. So if you have one of these things, let me know which upgrades are your favorite and I'll try to check them out. But anyway, let's get back to the current upgrades. Oh, okay. Inside this box is the Panda station, which has now been thoroughly inspected, and like the Under Armour, it also includes wheels that screw on, along with the door handles. If you have the H2C, it also includes a mount for the e-stop, but I don't need that. Now I just need to get this huge printer onto this. How hard could it be? I'm just very slow at things sometimes, but here's my current setup. I've got the printer on the Under Armour, which is sitting on the station, which has wheels. I've got some tools in the top drawer and the RGB lights upgrade and other random electronics underneath. I think normally you wouldn't have the Under Armour here, it would just be the printer on top of the station, but regardless, the Panda station is S tier. The fact that it's the exact right size for the printer is great. It's just a really nice storage solution. Oh, and while I was hibernating, I also assembled the Panda filament rack. It feels fine and holds around 35 rolls total. I just wish it was a tiny bit larger, so B tier. And just when I thought I was getting close to finally finishing this video, the absolute worst thing happened. Biqu sent me more stuff. This is the Den H2, Panda diaper, and 3 different nozzles. I'll keep this quick, so let's start with the diaper. See all these annoying 3D printed bits that get everywhere? Instead, you can put this rubber mat down at the bottom to catch them all, then just lift it up by the handles and take it out to the bin. I think that's the idea anyway. Unfortunately, it doesn't sit flat, doesn't look very neat, and doesn't really solve any problems. It's more effort than just vacuuming or dusting, so F tier. Next up is the Panda Den, and it has one really amazing feature, this massive drawer. I'll show you what it does shortly, but first, this is what the whole setup looks like now. I've swapped out the Under Armour with the Panda Den, and as you can see, there's one really long drawer, and the amazing feature I was talking about, the poop drawer. All the filament poop falls behind the printer into the den, then ends up here. Then you can just place a bin underneath and use the trapdoor to push all the filament out. This is amazing. It solves the single biggest design flaw with the H series, and it does it with such grace. Honestly, well done Biqu, this is S+ tier. Onto the penultimate upgrade, hotends. Biqu sent over 3 nozzle types, a 0.6mm and 0.4mm regular flow, and a 0.4mm high flow, all of which have hardened steel nozzles for printing with abrasive materials. They work identically to the stock hotends and are really simple to swap out. I ended up swapping to the 0.4mm nozzle, except blue because it looks pretty, but I could have just as easily swapped to the 0.6mm nozzle, which sacrifices a bit of detail but lets you print faster. I'm giving these an A ranking, not because there's anything special about them, but because in Australia at least, these are a way cheaper alternative to the official high-flow Bambu Lab nozzles. And onto the final upgrade, RGB lights. This is the control board, plus I have 2 rows of LEDs and this 3D printed mount that attaches to the Panda den. The Panda station also includes a pass-through for the LED cable. I think so it's easier to do like an underglow effect at the bottom of the station. Plus there's also the option to mount it onto the perch so it like shines into the printer, I think. But instead, I think I'm just going to mount my LEDs up and down the back of the printer because I don't really feel like taking it all apart to install the LED strips. And that's what I did. Right now it's slowly cycling through colors, but you can also choose to sync it up to the printer status. So that means the same color as the built-in LED strip here, but that isn't as fun. I'm giving this upgrade a D because, well, they don't have any real utility, but they are a bit of fun. Before you click off, let's do a quick recap from the bottom. F tier is the Panda Diaper and the side mounts for the Panda Perch. I recommend avoiding these. D tier are the RGB lights and the Under Armour without the wheels. You probably don't need these. C tier is the Sunlu AMS heater upgrade and the Panda Perch. They're fine, get them if you really want them. B tier is the Sidekick Toolkit, SpacePi Filament Dryer, and the Panda Filament Rack. I use these almost every day. A tier are the Panda Buildplates, the Under Armour with the wheels, the SpacePi X4 Filament Dryer, and the Panda Juicer hotends. These products are super useful for me, or in the case of the Buildplates and hotends, just well-built, reasonably priced replacements. S tier is the Panda Station and the AMS, and S plus tier is the Panda Den. These are all amazing and are absolutely what I recommend first if you want to upgrade your 3D printing setup. Let me know what you think of this setup, and if you have any questions or think I've missed anything, please let me know in the comments. Cheers.